Hi everyone, this is Faiz and welcome to my channel where I talk about all things tech and EVs. On my channel, I have reviewed two e-trons, the Audi e-tron GT and the e-tron S Sportback, and I love both of those vehicles. You can check out the reviews for both of them in the description below. Today, I'm very excited to be reviewing the newest member of the e-tron family, the Q4 e-tron. So without any further ado, let's get started. Alright, now before I start the review, let me first go over the specific Q4 e-tron model that I tested. It's the Navarro blue metallic exterior with a black interior, and it's the top of the line prestige model with the 20-inch wheels package. The total MSRP comes down to approximately $66,000. Alright, now first, let's get started by talking about the design. Style has always been the defining principle for Audi, and the Q4 e-tron stays true to that trend. It looks like a traditional SUV that boasts modern and stylistic design choices. It's certainly more striking than the Volkswagen ID.4, which it shares its platform with. Now, where the Volkswagen is quite simple and doesn't really stand out from the crowd, this Q4 e-tron looks aggressive and well sculpted, with sweeping lines and an aggressive forward angle D-pillar. And if you want one that's even more aggressive and, in my opinion, way more sleeker, then opt for a Sportback variant, which has a more sloping roofline and overall more modern aesthetic. The Prestige package comes with really cool matrix design LED headlights and a sweet animation for both the headlights and taillights, adding to the overall appeal of the Q4 e-tron. So overall, the design of this car is in line with Audi's current design language, whether it's for electric cars or gas-powered ones. It's an attractive SUV that will likely appeal to most people. Alright, so now that we've talked about the exterior, now let's take a look at the interior. If the Q4 e-tron feels rather designed to blend in with the rest of the Audi lineup from the outside, it definitely feels that way from the cockpit as well. In fact, you'd be hard-pressed to know which Audi you're driving if you were blindfolded and were dropped into a Q4 e-tron. From the digital instrument panel to the glass pane of the MMI infotainment system, to the physical buttons for the climate controls, and the iPod classic-style audio controller, the interior is nice yet familiar. Where some new EVs go for a large touchscreen display and minimal physical controls to differentiate from gas engine alternatives, the Q4 e-tron interior could be mistaken for either a Q3 or a Q5. You see, Audi has clearly taken a relatively conservative approach to interior design, and some may like that and some may not. It really just comes down to your personal preference. Front and center, you get a floating center console that looks premium and allows for additional storage space beneath it. But I really don't like this piano black plastic trim around the shifter because it attracts a ton of fingerprints and dust, and it's nearly impossible to keep clean. But what I really do like is this clever implementation of the new water bottle holder design in each door panel. Each holder is large enough to fit a slim reusable bottle. Now that is neat. Also, if you've been subscribed to my channel for a while and I've been watching my reviews on various different EVs, then you probably know that I'm a huge fan of ambient lighting. Luckily, you get ambient lighting in this SUV as well. In the front and rear doors, you get multicolored lighting. Contour lighting on the dashboard is also multicolored. And though the multicolored ambient lighting is not as spread out throughout the cabin like with the more flagship e-tron, it's still very nice to have. Audi also includes an opening panoramic sunroof as standard in this Q4 e-tron that stops short of the rear passenger's headspace. This makes it much more difficult to appreciate from the backseat, but it also means Audi was able to scoop out the roof to offer enough headroom in the back. So the interior of the Q4 e-tron isn't really flashy, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Elements like the floating center console and the overall conventional luxury is classic Audi, understated and functional. So the exterior is nice. The interior is decent. What about comfort? Despite measuring 3.6 inches shorter in length and 2.3 inches shorter in wheelbase than an Audi Q5, the Q4 e-tron's front and rear legroom are within an inch of its larger sibling. The seating feels as spacious as it seems on paper too. I had a friend of mine who was 6'1" and he was able to sit behind his own seating position with around 4 inches or so worth of space between the knees and the seat back. So the Q4 e-tron feels closer to the Q5 than to the super compact Q3. The seats are luxuriously padded and offer plenty of support, and there's nice contrast stitching as well. Overall, I was surprised by the spaciousness that the Q4 e-tron offers. It's nice and roomy and also very comfortable to sit in. Next, let's discuss infotainment and connectivity. The Q4 e-tron has the latest version of Audi's MMI system. A 10.3-inch virtual cockpit is standard, and a large 11.6-inch infotainment touchscreen is angled toward the driver. This might seem odd to look at first, especially for someone who loves a nice symmetrical design. However, I do enjoy this angled approach due to ergonomics, as it is far easier to access various menus and features, and to be honest, it's great for visibility as well. The homepage displays 8 large tiles for the main menus, which can be customized to suit your preferences, while one quick swipe to the left reveals 3 large widgets. You can also access infotainment content via steering wheel controls and the voice control system that responds to natural language. A small silver dollar-sized round controller on the console reminds me of the iPod scroll wheel that gives both driver and front passenger the ability to adjust the audio volume and change music tracks. Also, the premium sound system in this car is from the wireless speaker maker Sonos. With 10 speakers, the Sonos system delivers a customizable 3-dimensional soundstage experience with crisp fidelity and satisfying auditory immersion. You'll absolutely love blasting this car with your favorite songs. Also, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto come standard with the Q4 e-tron. Audi also offers a heads-up display with an augmented reality feature that can project information such as navigation instructions and driver assistance warnings. The built-in navigation is decent, but I still prefer using Apple CarPlay. Regarding advanced driver assistance systems, the Audi Q4 e-tron offers a mix of standard and optional systems that are competitive with other premium compact SUVs. Standard content includes Audi Pre-Safe Front, which is forward collision warnings, vehicle and pedestrian detection, and automatic emergency braking. Audi Side Assist, which provides blind spot warnings, rear cross traffic warning, lane departure warnings, front and rear parking sensors, high beam headlight assist, and backup camera. Now, if you get the Premium Plus or the Prestige one that you see right here, you also get an adaptive cruise assist, traffic sign recognition, and surround view camera. All right, before we go over the cargo capacity and range, let's go over perhaps the most important thing, the driving experience. This Prestige Quattro Q4 e-tron has 2 electric drive motors, sporting a lively 295 horsepower and 339 pound-feet of torque. This enables 0 to 60 miles per hour runs in just under 6 seconds, with a top speed of 112 miles per hour. Around town, the Q4 e-tron's powertrain feels like more than enough, even if its initial shove is more muted in comparison to rival SUVs such as the Tesla Model Y or the Volvo XC40. At higher speeds though, such as when you're passing on the highway, the powertrain does feel a bit lethargic. Now, of course, if you are looking for a performance-heavy e-tron, then go for the premium and luxurious Q8 e-tron. But overall, the Q4 e-tron's road manners are polite, the ride is smooth, and it feels reasonably maneuverable thanks to a tight turning radius. Now, most people ask if it's fun to drive, and that's where things get complicated. You see, with any electric vehicle, you're going to get great acceleration and torque. So technically, all EVs are fun to drive when you compare them to combustion engine vehicles. Like, I would totally choose the Q4 any day over the Q3 or the Q5. Yet, if I compared this Q4 e-tron to other EVs, then I'd stop short of calling it fun, as it feels heavy in corners and the steering feedback does feel artificial at times. And then this brings me to the next thing, range. The Q4 e-tron's 77 kilowatt-hour battery pack provides up to 236 miles per charge when it's paired with the dual-motor 50 powertrain. When you charge it around 80% like Audi wants you to, I achieved around 190 miles of driving range. This is what I think is the biggest downfall of this e-tron. It's great for city and local driving, but not as efficient for long drives. It's just not as valuable to get an EV that gives you under 200 miles of range. Like, even at 100% full charge, 236 miles is still pretty low. I do want to add that all models do support fast charging up to 150 kilowatts, and according to Audi, it can be charged from 5 to 80% in just 36 minutes. This Q4 e-tron 50 behind me charged from 10 to 90% in 44 minutes, with an average DC fast charge rate of 87 kilowatt hours. Lastly, let's go over cargo capacity. The Q4 e-tron has decent cargo capacity for a small luxury electric SUV. It has 24.8 cubic feet of room behind the second row and 53.1 cubic feet with the second row folded down. And there's no frunk, which is quite a bummer. Alright guys, in conclusion, the Audi Q4 e-tron is a decent electric SUV. However, Audi really needs to step it up when it comes to range if it truly wants to compete. At the end of the day, I still prefer the likes of the Tesla Model Y over the Q4 e-tron, primarily for the technology, the range, and the driving experience. But if you like classic luxury and do mostly short city or local driving, then you'll absolutely love the Audi Q4 e-tron. But like always, I want to know your thoughts and your questions, so be sure to comment below and let me know. And as always, be sure to like this video and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. I'll see you next time.